All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a homework, okay? Before we proceed on to the next week and jump into going a little bit more in depth and understanding how your brain works, because that is the most important piece together with strategies and techniques, because everyone's in this rush of strategies and techniques. Let me ask you this thing. Knowing that this is the last video for this week, how many of you are feeling, but what about next week? I didn't really learn anything this week. What is the technique? Where is the strategy? How many of you are actually feeling that? The key to money management is also patience. I'm forcing you guys on purpose to follow this patient route as I do with all of my other courses, because that is the key to winning. That is the key to winning. It is being able to take a step back, monitor everything, and say, I know what I need to do. That requires patience. Instead of waking up in the morning saying, I got to do something. I'm not making $1 million. There's no Ferrari in my garage. The world is putting so much pressure on me to do well. I turn on YouTube. There's motivational videos saying, if you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then you're nobody. There's all this pressure coming at you, and you're sitting there like, I got to do something. Because people who do are the ones who win. Do. Unfortunately, when it comes to money management, you can't just do. You have to take a step back, analyze, know where your sweet spot is, and go in big. Okay? You need to learn how that flow works first. And when you go in big, you need to go in big on what you are good at. Okay? Not what anybody else says to do, not what the news says, not what anything says, what you are good at. Okay, you might be going through, either you're a student, you might be doing something very well at school. You might be in a profession where you're going through the corporate ladder and you're doing very, very well, okay, because you got promotion after promotion after promotion. Whatever it may be, all of you guys have a certain level of skills. Okay, these skills allow you to take it to the next step, to the next step, to the next step. But what happens is when that skill is looking for, I need to grow, I need to do something else, and they enter this world of trading, let's say in Forex or stocks or futures, all the skill behind it is gone out the window. A lot of the savings that was built based on your perfection and skills of all the hard work and dedication day after day is now wiped away because you've entered an industry with less skills. Does that make sense? Because I had that problem. I blew up many accounts because I entered the Forex industry thinking, I got this. First 2 positive trades, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to call my boss and tell him, listen man, it's not working out. I can do something much better. Maybe in the future you call me up. I'll give you a job. You start feeling this ego starts coming in after a few trades of winning trades, and then you increase your account size. You get all these dreams coming out in your mind saying, I can do this. And when you enter, just a few months later, you start to realize, oh man, it's not what I thought. Okay? Because you only saw the positive side, you didn't really see the dark side. Even if you knew about the dark side and the downside, because you had 1 or 2 winning trades, you refuse to look at the negative side. The brain just does that. It's just normal human nature. All right? So, for your homework, what I'm going to do, okay? First things first, I want you to understand and really think about it. Okay, if you are a person that meditates, I highly recommend it to think about this during your meditation. Or if you're not a person that does all that mumbo jumbo, fair enough. Whenever you get some time, when you're sitting down alone to yourself, or you're in the shower and just thinking about it, I want you to think of this thing. If I present you with 2 opportunities, okay? One opportunity makes you money, and you've seen it time and time again on your account. The second opportunity, you like it. You absolutely love it. But you have a 50%, 60% success rate. But you love it. Do you have what it takes to tell yourself, I need to do what makes me more money? I'm already in an industry which I like. Good, that part is done. Now there's 2 opportunities coming my way from that industry. One, I like that style, but it doesn't make me so much money. And 2, okay, this one makes me money, but I'm not really sure about it because my interest is not there so much. This is where many, many people have a problem. I want you to really understand this, that can you stand up one day and be like, you know what? Even in this industry, I need to do what makes me more money and do it bigger and faster and better versus trying to do what you really like. Because again, society has bombarded us with, hey, if you're not going to do what you love, you're going to fail. Yes, true to a certain extent, but it doesn't mean just because you love something, you're going to overnight become a billionaire either. Otherwise, everybody would be a billionaire, right? You have to understand there's a science behind this whole process. One is the desire. You definitely need the desire. Okay, the brain needs to be ready to take on a challenge in case there are some failures along the way. The desire makes you go through it. Then comes the science or the numbers or the proper way of doing things to make sure you sustain and grow from each mistake. Okay? This balance is needed. You can't just have desire and saying, I want to be the best there is, I want to make a lot of money, but then nothing to back it up. Okay? So desire is not that powerful enough. Okay? So think about that one thing. Okay? Think about that one thing. Can you do what it takes to be like, well, this one makes me more money. I need to scale. I need to figure out what I can do this best as. Okay? The one that I like, I will put it a little bit down and I will work on it a little bit later. Okay? It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Especially when it comes to money management and trading, it's not a bad thing. I always get this question a lot from my students saying, hey, Naveen, do you take trades that you don't like? Yeah, all the time. All the time. What happened to your passion about this type of trader? What happened to that passion? It's still there. But I also have a passion of when I do well and I'm right and I make money from it, I enjoy that as well. I enjoy it. I automatically end up liking that. Okay? You can't just assume that you got to do your passion and then you're going to make some money. There's always a saying my father used to tell me, or I used to hear him say it to my mom while I was working. And I'm like, Dad, I don't like this stuff. Maybe they might pay me well and stuff like that, but I don't really like doing this. This is when I was working for the bank. And my dad used to always just tell my mom in a different language, like, yeah, wait till he earns some money and let's see him complain then. Okay, let's see him complain then. That is true to a certain extent. So I did go through that process as well. And I'm sure many of you guys are going through that process. Some of you guys might be making a ton of money while at the same time feeling frustrated, right? Like, oh man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And that's why you're reaching out into Forex. But now into Forex, it's a whole different skill set. You're building on the skill set, you're learning your edges, you're learning your strategy, you're learning your techniques. But now, what you're here for in this particular course is to master money management. Is to get to that next level where you can say, I grew, instead of I'm trying. I can feel the progress. No. No. Unfortunately, as much as I like someone trying, I need to see results. You need to see results. You need to expect results in anything that you do. Okay? Progress has two sides. One, you must feel happy doing it, reaching your goal. But two, you must also reach the goal too. Right? You can't just say, I'm at it. I'm still doing it. I'll get there one day. I'll get there one day. Are you measuring it? Are you keeping track of the whole process? Right? So it's very important to do that. Okay. So the trick I'm going to give you guys today is to understand the first aspect of money management, is to know your number. You might be like, Naveen, what do you mean, know your number? You might have heard me say this sometimes in a webinar in the past, but what know your number means is you want to first take a pen and paper, okay, or if you have an iPad and pencil, iPencil if you want to call it, depending on what age group you're in, you take your devices on writing, and I want you to write down how much you spend on a regular day, on a single day. Okay? If I ask you one question is, what do you know about money management? Okay? Every book, course, lecturer, mentor, guru is going to tell you, you must trade 2% or 1% of your account. If you trade any more than that, you will fail. That is correct, but it doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. And here's why. The 2%, I'm going to explain the whole process. The 2% aspect means it gives you enough time and attempts to fail and try until you get that balance. So you don't wipe yourself out in one trade, right? Okay, I used to do that. I used to trade so big with the lot sizes. The broker is like 400 is to 1. I'm like, I don't like that broker. 400 is to 1. There are some brokers giving me 1,000 to 1. Yeah, that was me back in the day. I was that bad. I was looking for brokers with more leverage because I'm like, at this rate of 50 is to 1 that some brokers in the US were offering or something like that, 50 is to 1. I was like, are you kidding me? I'll never make any money. And then some brokers like, hey, I'll give you 1,000 is to 1, 2,000 is to 1. I'm like, you know what? I think this broker likes me. Unfortunately, the money went down the drain faster than the water can go down the drain, right? So you have to be careful with that, okay? And you want to understand how many attempts you can do before you fail. So the 2%, 1% is correct.